A storm could be heading for PlayStation after a recent Insomniac Games hack revealed that Sony might be closing down another studio. On November 9 of this year, Sony announced an impending closing of another studio in an off-site meeting. Now, for those of you who are questioning what I'm even talking about, like Quinn, what do you mean they're closing down another studio? Well, Pixel Outpost announced on Twitter of May of this year that they would be closing down their door. They posted, "Dear friends, our Pixel Outpost adventure has come to an end. As we look to new adventures, we wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to the millions of passionate players who have supported us in our mission to make beautiful, imaginative games with heart. We are so grateful." However, since the post, they have changed their bio to say, "A former small Sony team striving to make beautiful, imaginative games with heart. Creators of the award-winning and BAFTA-nominated Concrete Genie and Entwined." And after seeing their bio change and everything, I felt sad because I did play Concrete Genie and I thought it was a really beautiful game. December 12 was a horrible day for Insomniac Games, considering they were hacked by a group named Rysata Ransomware Gang, which please have let me pronounce that right. I wanted to do a video on it, but I decided against it since there were more things to cover. Plus, I like to fully research something before I talk about it, so that was another reason as to why I didn't go into detail. I figured there will be more news coming out about it, and I was right. The group had first threatened to auction off 1 terabyte worth of Sony files for $2 million worth of Bitcoin, but then they just decided to publicly dump everything instead. Honestly, a lot think that this might be because Sony refused to give into whatever demands they had, or maybe that they just couldn't find a buyer for that much money. I see that being a possibility. Now, the hack released future Insomniac Marvel titles like Wolverine, X-Men Game 1 and 3, but that wasn't the only thing that was leaked. Employee personal information was also leaked, which is something no one deserves to have done to them. No one deserves to be doxxed at all. Isn't that right, Sniper Wolf? Okay, well, maybe some people don't agree with that, but I think the vast majority of us do. On December 19, just a few days ago, Remedy Entertainment released a statement on Twitter saying, "Our sympathies to Insomniac Games and all the affected team members. All the effort and dedication they poured into their games, they don't deserve this. No one does." The hackers also leaked employees' personal information, which is disgraceful and shameful. And honestly, Remedy Entertainment, I couldn't have said it better myself. In all honesty, I wondered if them thinking about closing another studio has anything to do with the massive lawsuit they are having to face. It was filed last year, and it states that Sony takes a 30% cut, which is, charged to developers and to publishers. So basically making that the reason why us as consumers have to pay more for our games. And even though Sony said that the lawsuit being presented by Alex Neil is, quote, flawed from start to finish, they still have to face the lawsuit, unfortunately. There's a lack of evidence that charging these devs and publishers more is what cost us so much money to buy things off of Sony. Alex, I don't know if you've done this, but I went on to Xbox.com and PlayStation.com to do some research, which could have taken you no more than 20 minutes if you really wanted to be thorough and cross-check everything that they have. I looked up 2 games that are still massive in their own right: Hogwarts Legacy Digital Deluxe Edition and Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, without the sale, Hogwarts Legacy Digital Deluxe Edition is $79.99 through both companies. However, the only difference is that Sony doesn't have a sale currently going on with Legacy at the time of writing this. However, if you want to know what is on sale for both, and for literally the same price, it is Red Dead Redemption. They both have a regular price of $59.99, which is basically $60, but they're both on sale for $19.79. Although, with that upcoming lawsuit aside, it's no wonder that things aren't looking good for the gaming giant. Even though Marvel's Spider-Man 2 was a massive success, I mean, I saw a bunch of people streaming this, a bunch of people hyped up for this game. I myself am massively hyped for this game and was hyped for this game, but sadly nothing happened. Yeah. But anyway, even that didn't stop layoffs from happening. Sony had apparently pressured Insomniac Games to lay off from 50 to 70 employees strategically in order to cut cost. It doesn't help that Sony was concerned about Spider-Man 2 costing around $30 million more than its original budget. However, keep in mind that its original budget was set to $270 million. I can only dream of seeing that much money, which would mean that Sony would have to sell 7 million copies of the game in order to see any form of profit. Overall, 2023 was a host to many layoffs in the gaming industry, unfortunately. Unity had even laid off over 1,000 employees in 4 rounds of layoffs. ByteDance had let 1,000 employees go, as well as other companies like BioWare, Riot, Takes-Two Interactive, CD Projekt Red, and many more. Things are also going bad for Sony, considering that the leak also revealed that they have a fear in the form of Microsoft after they acquired Activision. As we all know, Activision is the home of some of the most well-known games. Now, by that, I mean, has anyone ever not heard of Call of Duty? They now have full control over its exclusivity. Now, Microsoft did say that Call of Duty will not be an exclusive, but who knows for sure? Honestly, that could all change in the future if they feel like they want to get the most profit as possible. Call of Duty has always been a huge moneymaker year after year. Even when I used to work at GameStop so many years ago, it was such a huge thing. People line up outside of stores for this game. Not to mention that at the time of writing this, both their stocks hold a vast difference in price per share. Now, I do realize it probably has always been such a huge difference, but you never know if that's also making them nervous, you know? It's obvious that Microsoft acquiring Activision would put Sony's future in uncertainty. Now, per Microsoft purchases with the big name companies, the impending lawsuit, severely going over budget with massive AAA games, and forced layoffs, it makes me wonder what might be next for them as a company. I personally have always been a PlayStation person. My older brother had the PS2 and a PSP. Later on, I got myself a PlayStation 3, and now I have a PlayStation 4. However, Sony, please lower the cost of your PlayStation 5, okay? I'm not Malcolm Moore with $20 in my pocket and about to pop some tags. I only have $5, okay? Take it or leave it. Even a lot of my friends currently play on their PlayStation. I mean, a lot of people that I know do, and it's something that you have to, think about. I mean, shoot, PlayStation 2 was the first time I've ever discovered a freaking Spider-Man game, but it was that Spider-Man game that you couldn't crawl or swing below a certain level until, for some reason, Spider-Man just released himself and plummeted to his downfall. And even though you might not like PlayStation, because I do realize some don't, you can't help but admit that leaking employee information was just dead wrong. It's just, again, like I said, it's something you don't do. Unless you're Sniper Wolf and are cool with doxing people, you don't do this. This is just, it's so, what did Remedy say? It's disgraceful. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Tell me, what do you guys think? This month has been heavy on news, so if there's anything you want me to cover, let me know. I know the Grand Theft Auto 6 leaker did just get life, which I cannot imagine getting life for leaking something, but there's more information on possibly what added to his life sentence. Let me know what you think of PlayStation's future. Do you think Sony will lose the lawsuit that's being brought up by Alex Neil, who clearly doesn't know how to do some research? Like, dude, if you look up some top games that they have been in the market for both systems, you'll see that they're the same price. It's just the fact that when you make bigger and bigger and bigger games, you're going to have a much bigger and bigger cost. And not only does that affect it, so does, I think that affects why we pay, but at the same time, I honestly don't care about spending, okay, maybe I do care, like I said, about spending $70 on a game, but please make sure it's a good game that I'm spending it on. Don't make it seem like the days before. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I miss Quinn, and I'm gonna go work on my Alec Wake video now. I still need to write it out, and it's a deep dive video, so it's a lot of work. Okay, guys? Bye, everyone. Oh, but before I go, everything I have talked about is in the description. The links to every website and everything that I visited for all my information is in the description down below. Okay, guys? With that being said, bye-bye.